The room had a bitter, slimy odor of snake found repellent. Emmerich looked around the cages with some pride. "There are some specimens I've been able to get already," he told us. "Got a good many of them near the house here, too, by night." "It'd give me the creeps to have them in the same house with me," Peter said. "But Rollins and I came out to tell you about a snake that tops all these." Emmerich heard our news with swift nodding interest. "Why, I'm grateful to you for coming," he exclaimed. "Of course I'll go over and look at the track, though I can't imagine what kind of snake native to these parts it could be." "We could take you over," I suggested. "I want to see the thing's track myself. Peter was there this morning." Emmerich locked his sagging door and came with us to the car. We drove along another wretchedly soft road parallel to the swamp's edge towards its southern end. We reached John Williams' little farm, an unpainted frame house surrounded by a score of cultivated acres that, at their western border, met the swamp's edge. Williams' wife told us her husband was down at the scene of the snake's appearance, and we three picked our way along the edge of the cornfield to the spot where we could glimpse Williams and two other negroes standing. Williams was in earnest conversation with the other two, and I recognized one of them as Uncle Wally, a negro of some age who had a reputation among blacks around Corolla as a conjure man. He was pointing to the ground and saying something solemnly to Williams and the other. They broke off their talk as they saw us approaching, and at Peter's request, Williams showed us the track the snake had left. It was in the soft mud between Williams' little goat corral and the swamp, leading up to the corral and then returning to the swamp. It was a groove in the mud some inches deep and a full foot across. Emmerich dropped to his knees and examined the track keenly. He looked up to us in a moment. "It's a snake track, all right," he told us, "but who ever heard of a snake this size in this part of the world?" "Sure was awful big," Williams said, shaking his head. "Grabbed that goat and went off with it right before my eyes. Couldn't hardly believe what I was seeing." "Did it have any markings you could see?" Emmerich asked him. "What did it look like?" "Just looked like a big, dark snake, all I got to see of it," Williams answered. "Its eyes were red, though. Eyes shone just like red fire." Emmerich looked back at the track. Rollins said maybe the snake's one escaped from a circus or zoo. Peter told him, but Emmerich shook his head. "Circuses don't carry big snakes, and there's no zoo within several hundred miles of here. Yet how in the name of all zoological science did a snake that size get into this swamp?" William spoke hesitantly. "Uncle Wally say it wasn't real snake at all," he said. "He say it was a snake man." "A snake man?" Peter repeated. "What in the world's that?" "It's a snake that's a man in daytime," Uncle Wally told him solemnly. "Nighttime comes, man uses devil spell and turns into a big snake. He crawled around all night as big snake, grab whatever he sees, but daytime comes again, spell change and back into man." Emmerich stood up. "I've heard that superstition before," he said interestedly. "When I was after mambas in southern Africa, I lived with tribes that believed utterly in snake men. Their medicine men told me lots about men who were men by day, but whose compact with the forces of evil allowed them to take on snake form at night, and the spells by which it was done. I suppose the superstition here is a racial survival of the African one." "Ain't no superstition," Uncle Wally asserted. "Hit's a snake man made this track, all right. Someone round here livin' a man in daytime, and a big snake in the swamp at night." "For all we know, it might be you, Uncle Wally," said Peter, grinning. "You're the only conjure man around here, and thus the only possible snake man." Emmerich laughed, and Uncle Wally looked strangely at him. "Maybe you won't laugh at snake man for long," he told the scientist. "Maybe you'll find out that snake man don't like man who captures snakes, and that snake man come find that man when he's snake at night." "Well, snake man or snake, I'd like to see the thing that made this track," Emmerich said. "Maybe I'll meet it in the swamp some night."